Welcome back to the studio. I am here with our 2024 28K champion, Bailey Kowalczyk. She is now a three-peat winner of this race, which is very impressive. So welcome back to the champion's chair. You know it well. How does it feel?
I'm super stoked. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy. That was a hard race, and I feel like I was running for my life out there. So I'm really happy to come out with the win, but also just to have a good experience. It was super fun.
Yeah. What was your mindset going into this? I mean, you've now done this race multiple times, won it each time. I mean, were you sort of gunning for the win from the get-go? We saw you take it out hot. What were you thinking?
Yeah, my main goal was to have fun, which sounds so lame as a professional athlete, but it was to have a good day and to really soak up the vibes of the rut, the community. But there's always the back of the mind thoughts. I did want to win. I wanted the course record. That's something that's been on my mind for a few years now, and I know the course has changed a little bit. But that was definitely something that was of interest, and I knew this was going to be a good year with Jen in the field because she's a really hot competitor.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you were quite close to the course record time. Did you know in those last few miles that you were close to that to hitting that time, or did you have any idea at all that you were running that
I
fast?
had no idea. Actually, I thought I was running slower than previous years, mostly because they changed a little bit going up to Lone Peak. So my time to the top was actually slower. So in my head, I was like, you know what? You got to just run your race. Like, don't pay attention to the time. So I stopped looking at the time and went kind of into survival mode for that back. Like, the last third of it was all survival mode. I had no idea what time it was. I was very pleasantly surprised when I finished, but I definitely thought it was going to be more like 350 than 335. So super
Yeah.
stoked on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, so when you were descending off Lone Peak, do you feel like the snow impacted you at all? Do you feel like it helped? Do you feel like it slowed you down? So that was definitely a new variable for the race than what you're used to on this course.
Yeah. Historically, I've kind of had trouble with the heat in the back half of the race. So the temperatures were really nice. The snow, my brain kind of explodes when I'm running downhill on the snow. So it was a little bit challenging. I don't know.
Is
I
it just
haven't
hard from like a where am I supposed to put my feet, or what is going through your mind when you're running downhill
I think I
in the
just get
snow?
more nervous with the instability. It doesn't, I still want to run super fast and I love downhills, but I think the snow adds this layer of like, it doesn't really matter if you take the right steps. Sometimes you still slide out and that can be a little bit terrifying, but I don't, I don't know if it was faster or slower. I feel like it probably was faster than I think it was, but in the
Mhm.
moment it felt like I was moving like a sloth. I was like, feels so out of my element, but
Well, you looked very fast from our
oh,
perspective,
thank
so
you. I appreciate that.
definitely no sloth-like movements from our vantage point. So when Jen went off course, it sounds like about 10 to 15 seconds behind you, which when we were from our perspective, we thought maybe she was ahead. We didn't really know where you guys were at that point. We just saw her go off course and then try to get back. Did you know she had gone off course? When you did find out, what were you thinking? What did you know, and when did you find out? And how did that
Yeah.
make you feel?
Yeah, so I as far as I knew, I led from start to finish, but Jen was right there on all the climbs in particular. The downhills, I felt like I was kind of stepping away a little bit, but then she would catch right back up and it was kind of terrifying. And then we went down, I think it was probably somewhere on headwaters, and then I didn't see her at all. And I was like, well, that's weird. Like this seems strange. And I went through that Swift Current aid station and someone told me, they were like, oh, just letting you know, Jen got off course. And I had no idea how far she got off course, whether she was still in the race. Like I had no clue, but I had a feeling that she was going to find her way back. So I was still running very, very scared. But my immediate reaction was, I think I was like, dang, that sucks. Like I want to compete with the
Yeah, we
best and I
saw a
want her to have a
reaction.
good day
Yeah,
too. Like
yeah,
she's such a talented athlete and such an amazing person. So, I never would wish that on anyone. So that sucks. But
yeah. Yeah, we
um
saw a reaction at the aid station. So we were like, Bailey's finding out information right now, we think, but we just don't know what. And we don't know like what to read with the reaction that we're seeing. So that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I'm not sure if it was someone else with an orange shirt, but I saw somebody on Lone Peak, like probably like 5 or so minutes behind me. And I was pretty sure it was her. So in my head, I was like, okay, she's still raging. Like, we've got to keep moving.
Well, you just answered the next question I was going to ask you, because I was so curious if at any point going up that climb, if you saw Jen, because it is such an open, it's so open, that whole face. You can see people who are minutes behind you. And she was about between 4 and 3 minutes behind you at that point. So we figured you probably did see her. So it sounds like you did. And it sounds like you got a little bit of sort of motivation there. Did you see her or hear anything more about her after that? Or like, were you ever running scared?
I was running scared the entire race. I mean, I knew that the downhills were going to be my advantage. So in my head, I was like, okay, you need to get to the top of Lone Peak in first, and you're pretty solid. And that's exactly what I did. But I knew that I was guessing 4 minutes. Like, I think it was her that I saw. And then I ran downhill as best as I could in the snow. But then it just felt like the rest of the race, like any runnable section, I was like, she's right behind you. You got to go. She's right behind you. And the last climb, I was kind of exploding a little bit. And I felt like I was just looking over. I felt like I was running with my head turned back, because I was like, she's coming. She's right there. I know she's right there. So, yes, I was running scared. But that's my favorite way to run, I think.
Yeah. Well, you absolutely crushed it. And I mean, 3 times on this course, how did this year compare to the past few times that you've done it?
Yeah, it's, I feel like it always brings something different. We obviously didn't go all the way to the summit last year, so I feel like that year was a little bit different, but it's cool to see, at least on the full course, like, it's cool to see, like, 15-minute incremental improvements every single time I run it. Like, it's really fun. It's just a cool fitness check, and I just love this course. Like, there's always something fun and exciting, and this year it was kind of the snow. But it was more fun than I expected it to be.
Yeah. So that also leads me to the question, what keeps you coming back to the rut?
I think, the vibes, for sure. The community, the vibes, what they have built here is so, so special. It's unlike any other U.S. race, I think. I feel like I just always have a positive experience. And this time of year, I find myself needing, like, good vibes in races. And, we're kind of in the middle towards the end of the season. And that's when, like, you need that positivity, and you need that fun race that also brings some of the best athletes too. And so it's been really fun. And I feel like my gut always pulls me here.
Yeah. Eventually. It truly is such an amazing community vibe here. That is for sure. I think we're all here because of it. So what is next for you? What do you have on the schedule for the rest of the year?
It's a great question. I'm feeling incredibly indecisive this year. So I feel like I'm kind of just keeping people on their toes. I'm not sure right now. I think I might run next weekend at Mammoth Trail Fest if my body is intact on, like, Wednesday. If not, I might make a push towards re-qualifying for OCC, since I did not show up to that race this year. Yeah, but time will tell.
Yeah,
that's my answer there.
It's only a few days time.
Yeah,
will be Mammoth. So
yeah,
I guess we'll have to stay tuned. If you do Mammoth, which race would you do?
I do the 26K as part of the Golden Trail series.
Yeah.
It'd be like, a nice little third race in the series, and just it's always a competitive field, so it'd be fun to experience that. But I need to learn how to walk again, so we'll see.
So will you be back next year? And if so, do you think you would do the 28K again? Do you think you would try any of the other distances, or what are you thinking?
That's a long way away. Like I said, my gut always pulls me here. So
yeah,
chances are yes. I'm not super intrigued by the 50K here. Honestly, I think the 28K is just my
Why
place.
Is that?
I don't know. You're asking really hard questions. I think it's a lot of running outside of I feel like you get all the really good parts of the course with the 28K, and then the 50K adds a lot of running on top of it and not just like hiking and descending. And I don't know. I think it's hard for me to wrap my brain around because the way I feel at the end of the 28K is like there's no way I could go any longer. But
we always put it all out there.
yeah,
so.
and if it's a 50K, I'm sure it would be run a little. But
yeah,
never say never. Maybe I'll do the 50K
I think it would
someday.
be an amazing course for you. I think you would do really well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think you should keep it in the back of your mind.
It's there, noted, cataloged.
Well, thank you, Bailey. We're gonna pause on the audio, but we're gonna keep the finish line footage going. So stay tuned, and we'll be back.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bailey.